As we film this video, the missiles keep flying at Israel, and AJC feels this strong need to speak out and to bring some clarity to a situation which increasingly is falling into a kind of moral fog. Let's be clear about a couple of things. First, let's remember a little bit of the history. The history, in a way, begins in 2005. That's when Israel withdrew completely from Gaza, every last soldier, every last settler, giving the people of Gaza their very first chance ever in their history to govern themselves. But what happened? Instead of trying to build Singapore, it descended into a cross between Syria and Somalia, because within 2 years, Hamas was in full control of Gaza. And Hamas was much more interested in destroying Israel than building Gaza. After all, Hamas's aim is the annihilation of the state of Israel. Now, that's not David Harris or AJC speaking. That's the Hamas covenant. And I'd urge anyone watching this film to spend just a moment getting the Hamas covenant off of the internet, reading it for yourself in English, and drawing your own conclusions about the anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, anti-Zionist nature of the organization. So there's background to this. Secondly, how did this conflict begin? It began because Hamas sent rockets and missiles and mortars into Israel, hundreds and hundreds this year alone, thousands if you add the last several years, and there is no nation on earth, none, that would tolerate this kind of brazen assault day after day on its villages, towns, and cities, on its civilian population. No country. And thirdly, let's have some moral clarity about this. There's too much moral equivalence. There's the kind of equivalence that you see in the front page of the New York Times a few days ago that shows the funeral at the top of a Hamas murderer, one of the commanders of Hamas, and underneath it, the funeral of one of his victims, an Israeli woman. This is shameful. But this is the kind of thing that we're beginning to see too much of. A kind of, well, you know, at the end of the day, this is really the Hatfields and McCoys, without any clarity as to the fact that Israel, a democratic nation, withdrew from Gaza, seeks nothing more than a peaceful border with Gaza, nothing more, but is not given that privilege because Hamas wants to destroy the state of Israel. We need moral clarity, not moral fog. Thankfully, the United States, thankfully Canada, thankfully Germany, thankfully Britain, thankfully Australia, and a few other countries have that kind of moral clarity. We need much more of it. AJC stands fully in support of Israel. We stand in solidarity with Israel. We're mobilizing every political and diplomatic contact we have around the world, every tool of media and communications we have, every relationship we have with other ethnic and religious groups to make the case that this is about making the distinction between the democrat Israel, the despot Hamas, the fireman Israel, the arsonist Hamas. The true nature of Hamas, in other words. It's time that the world woke up and understood, and that we had fewer such examples of moral equivalence and many more examples of moral clarity. This is David Harris of AJC, inviting you to visit our website at ajc.org and to follow us at Facebook and Twitter. Thank you.